me get rid of some stuff here. Let's get rid of some stuff here. Rid of some junk. Got shit everywhere. Get this live going here soon. Alright. Alright, guys. Alright. Alright, everybody. Let's get this live stream going. Had the mic all messed up there for a minute. What a game by the Steelers, by the skin of their teeth, yet again. I don't know how they even won that game, guys. I gotta say, too, I'm gonna just start this off. I'll wait for more people to get in, so I'll probably end up repeating myself, but Kenny Pickett cannot drive the football down the field, and I didn't like that call where the pass was completed to George Pickens late in the game. That was not pass interference there on Calvin Austin. That was an inadvertent hit. That was not something he deliberately did. That was kind of just like in the flow of the game, and I don't know how you really call that late in the game like that if you're the referees. And when we looked at this referees crew, officials crew, they didn't call a lot of pass interference, things of that nature throughout the season so far. And then, boom, here in this game, they had several. There was several. And I need to kick one out to Patrick Peterson, man. I've been riding him hard all season, calling him a dinosaur, all that shit. And actually, he came through with a big play late in the game with that deflection. I don't know if anybody, you can put it in the chat, knows the status. I think that was Keanu Neal, what he injured. I think it might have been his shoulder by the looks of him when he was going into the blue tent. I'm not sure. But just another game by the Steelers, by the skin of their teeth, and I don't really even know how this football team's 6-3. I really, really don't. I'm super puzzled. A game that they should have really dominated. They came out with the run game, looking hardcore. Najee, Jalen, both with the big score early. They were really controlling the football. But if you're Matt Canada too, you got to start calling some of those play actions. And if you're Kenny Pickett, you can't hold the football. Constantly holding the football. There were times that line was giving him 3-4 seconds. You got to make a decision, man. And I'm not sure what's going on in his head. Were the receivers really that covered? It's hard to watch it unless you're watching all 22. It's really hard to tell whether they're all covered downfield or not. I thought he had a big play whenever he took the run and gained 11 yards. That was good, but my Lord, how are you constantly not able to drive the football downfield and move the chains? Like, you got to get one first down there at the end. Like, let's win a game that isn't a nail biter. Let's win a game that isn't a nail biter. That's what one thing that I would like to see moving forward. And this was the game I thought that they would. I thought they would get over 400 yards. They were pretty close, like 3-something. So they were over 300, which I'm happy about. They still didn't get that 400-yard mark. Yeah, crazy game, guys. Anybody got anything they want to put in there? Yeah, I agree, man. It pissed me off, too. Way too many dumb passes. You're right. Kenny Pickett is constantly checking it down. I'm not sure, like, does he see anything downfield? Is it bad scheme? I mean, are the plays bad? I thought there were some good plays that were called, but you're right. Matt Canada, man, he was sad this game. Super sad, man. In some aspects, there was a couple that he was good, man. But you cannot constantly, if you're Kenny Pickett, be checking it down. Is his arm not strong enough to drive the football down the field? Does anybody else think that that's like kind of what's happening too? He's not driving it down the football field because he can't. And I've been the biggest cheerleader of Kenny Pickett this whole season. But, man, sometimes you got to rip the ball. Did you guys see Jordan Love there at the beginning part of the game there when he threw that one to Christian Watson across the middle? I mean, he drove that football. That's how you throw a pass in the NFL. That's some velocity on it. That's putting it where it needs to be. Only your receiver is going to be able to get it. That's a tight window. I mean, that's how you got to throw the ball if you're in the NFL. And I don't see that happen very often from Kenny. But then again, I don't feel like they attack the middle of the field. And the only time they really attacked the middle of the field was that play, that deep one that got called back for the Calvin Austin interference. And I didn't like that at all. And the officials, man, this has been a big problem throughout the league all season. There was some times that, I mean, if you're TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith, my lord, you're getting mugged by some of these guys. Zach Tom, you could have called holding on him every play of the game. I mean, he was ridiculous with it. But hey, for an officiating crew, that was the majority of their penalties. The most that they've called all year was holding, and they didn't really call it that much at all. George Pickens did get in the game a little bit more. They were trying to emphasize it a little bit more. Deontay Johnson, non-existent really. Dropped that one down the sideline I thought he could have had. That was a big one that would have got him down to the 10-yard line, setting him up to punch something in there. But I really do think the run game was what held the Steelers together completely, 100%. Jaylen Warren proves yet again that he is a monster, dude. He is a monster. And they gotta just keep feeding him the football. Najee Harris, what's up with these hurdles? You're at the end of the play. That one that he got pushed out where he hurdled the football and didn't gain that first down. If you're Najee Harris there and you duck your head and you power and use that size you have, you're probably getting that extra yard or two that you needed in order to gain that first down. I mean, you're going up against a defensive back. You're a monster running back with huge size, big, huge muscles, bro. Use them. I mean, geez. Quit trying to hurdle people at the end of that. That's so dumb. Put your head down and drive your legs and get those extra 1-2 yards and not try to hurdle the damn thing up, man. I don't know. I'm sorry. That just makes me crazy. Not only does it cut that run a little bit short, probably the 1 or 2 yards that he needs, or gets it a little bit closer to where you can maybe sneak the football or something. Maybe it's close. But also, you're opening yourself up to possibly fumbling the football. You're opening yourself up to being injured. Jumping in the air like that for absolutely no reason is stupid. And at least it's stupid if you ask me. I know I tell like the kids in youth football when I coach, like, dude, don't be jumping up in the air trying to do that crazy crap. Unless you have to. If you have to, make a play. Sure. Do what you need to do. But come on. The defense bleeds a lot again. They gave up those big touchdown throws from Jordan Love. Some of them, I'm like, are you even covering? And then at the end of the game, how are you leaving that guy wide open in the middle of the field? You have Jordan Love in trouble, and you can't wrap him up there. You can't knock him off base, and you allow a receiver to gain, what, 50 yards, 60 yards? Yeah, I agree. Yeah, dude. Yeah, the dude. I just saying, dude. Yeah, that's who commented. You all could see that. He said, I said the same thing. Stop trying to hurdle guys when you could drive through the defender. Agreed, man. You got to do that. You see Jaylen Warren run the football. He's going after those tough yards. I mean, he's putting his head down, his shoulder down, and running and driving and trying to gain extra yards. Trying to make it, trying to push. Anybody else got any comments about the game? Put it in there. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. We're doing our live post-game show. Give me your comments, your feelings, concerns about this Steelers team. I thought this was going to be the real breakout game. The defense held them together as usual, coming up with timely interceptions, coming up with timely big plays. They did bleed too. They're hurting a lot. How about the loss of Quan Alexander? That's going to be bad news for the Steelers. They're super thin at the inside linebacker position. I don't even know where you turn. There's some guys out there that are still free agents, some older guys maybe that have some experience. Maybe you try to go out and get a veteran guy. If you're going to lose Quan Alexander, I mean, you're going to have to try to go out and get some veteran dude, or I don't know. I don't really know where you turn. You're so thin there. Minkah Fitzpatrick being out, that's killing them too. You see that. That's hurting bad, if you ask me. Hopefully Minkah's back sooner than later. I don't know if there's any updates on him. We'll have to see throughout the week. But if, like I said, if you have any more comments about the game, put it in there. Let me know what you guys thought about the game, and where you think the Steelers team goes from here. They're 6-3. The Cincinnati Bengals just lost on a last-second field goal from the Texans. The Texans had dominated that football game from start to finish, really. The Bengals rallied back, and they ended up losing the football game, which helps the Steelers. The Cleveland Browns lost to, I believe, the Ravens. I think the Ravens ended up still holding on. If anybody knows the score of that game, I didn't check. But that's big. Now that leaves the Steelers and the Ravens, with the Steelers holding the tiebreaker at the top, 6-3. The Ravens would move to 8-2. They're really on a roll, man. They are on a roll, and it's big that the Steelers do have that tiebreakers. Browns won. Wow. Okay. Nice. That actually shoot. Okay. Well, I guess that's good because we held the tiebreaker against the Browns also. So with that win, but here we go, guys. This is where big time football is coming into play. AFC North football. You're coming down the pipe here. Two division games in a row versus Cleveland versus the Bengals. The Bengals are going to be looking to get that nasty taste from that loss of the Texans out of their mouth. If you're Kenny Pickett and Matt Canada, you got to come out and you got to get this offense mixed up, guys. What they have going right now, the run game is going. Okay, you've established that. You got to work on mixing this up. Allen Robinson still constantly in the slot. I noticed more toward the end of the game. They were phasing him out a little bit. I didn't notice him as much. I noticed more of Calvin Austin. So maybe that's going to help. But I think they were just more or less doing that because they were trying to get big chunk yards and move the ball a little bit, maybe. I don't know. But Allen Robinson's still in the game. He did have one big block, but it was a double team with Isaac Samalu, so I wouldn't say it was like all Allen Robinson. I think he drew a penalty or something too. But non-existent. You can't have no slot receiver play throughout the game. You need that slot receiver. You need that tight end group. They went to Darnell Washington once early, I noticed, and then you never seen him again. Why is he not working that middle of the field? Why is the slot receiver not working the middle of the field? Why are they not trying to utilize it? I mean, I'm seeing no plays to the middle of the field. I don't know if it's just me and I'm being like blinded a little bit by it and maybe emotional in the game or something to where I'm not noticing it. But if you guys think they're throwing it to, I don't know. I don't think they're throwing it to the middle of the field at all. Zero. The one time was to George Pickens that was, like I said, called back. But all in all, too, Presley Harvin, I thought he had a bad game. We needed some big boomers, and I don't think he delivered on some of them. That one, he could have really got down there deep. Instead, they got the ball in the 19. That was the last drive when they started that last drive. Excuse me, guys. I was yelling at the TV, so my voice is beat up. But anyway, I'm not going to be on here too long. I'm outside actually doing some Christmas light stuff for the house, trying to get it done early while the weather's okay enough to do it. So I'm going to be back out there doing that. Took the break for the Steelers game with the big win. They improved to 6-3. The loss of Quan Alexander, I think, is going to be big. Is Keanu Neal going to be able to keep going? You're already down Minkah Fitzpatrick. The defense starting to look real slim, man. Real slim. And on a team that you totally rely on that defense for a lot to really carry you. It's bad news if you're a Steelers fan. It's bad news because what do you do? If the offense just can't get going, the run game did go today. I'm not saying that. The run game did go. But man, the pass game's still really non-existent. It's just bad. And I'm starting to really have to blame Kenny Pickett. Is anybody else in the chat? What do you guys think about Kenny Pickett? His performance today, was it good enough? Was it more that the Green Bay Packers did an excellent job in the secondary? They were without Alexander, and they were out without a couple of their top guys back there. So you're playing some guys that are second, third teamers, and Kenny Pickett still yet to really pick them apart. How do you feel the offensive line played? I felt that Broderick Jones didn't have his best game. I thought he played okay. He let up that one big play there where Kenny got smacked up a little bit. Yeah, Broderick Jones, I don't think it was his best. I don't think it was a poor game. Dan Moore Jr., I don't think it was his best game either. Mason Cole, definitely not his best game again. And I feel that that's a big inconsistency throughout. Christian Kuntz, that ankle, is he going to be okay? Is he going to be able to continue? Because long snapper's is a big-time position. You seen last year when the Bengals lost theirs in the opening game. That was bad. Yeah, yeah, Neal's pick. That's where he got hurt. That's what I'm wondering. Was he injured shoulder? lower body. I didn't really get to hear anything from the broadcast before I came down to do this live, so I'm not sure. But Pat P, that was a big play. And he really proved his veteran presence there and made a big play. And that was a heads up play, smart play, really stuck to his guy. Really surprising, if you ask me, because I've been on him hard. He's been bad a lot. And that was one of his good plays. That was really good. That was something in a big moment when the Steelers needed him the most. And not to mention, what about his block kick? That was proven big throughout the game. That 1 point was big a lot of the times whenever you're looking at the score as we move through the quarters. Patrick Peterson's big block kick, that extra point kick, it was really paying big dividends, actually. And it was just keeping the Steelers just slightly in front as the game progressed. And that was huge. And then you add that block kick after the Steelers and Chris Boswell convert that field goal where they probably should have got 7, my lord. But anyway, regardless, shoulda, coulda, woulda. But that field goal puts them ahead 4 points. Now that forces Green Bay into that touchdown. And if they didn't have to, we're watching overtime right now, guys. We're watching overtime because they were definitely in field goal range, and 95% of the time they're going to convert it, especially down that low after a big completion from Love. So that 1 point, Patrick Peterson, I'm going to say he's my defensive MVP today, if you ask me. Yep, Texans-Browns win. Yeah, Daniel, for sure. That's big in my eyes. The Bengals losing one. That's big because they were really getting on a roll. And how about that Houston Texans team, guys? Yeah, they beat the crap out of the Steelers, but boy, they are something else. C.J. Stroud is special. Really is. I said him, Will Levis, those two were going to be the top two out of that class, and boy, they are something else, man. At least C.J. Stroud was. I don't know how Levis did today, but the Browns, man, Musselwhite a win against the Ravens, and we are coming down the pipe and playing both of those teams. One with a W that just got a W in the Browns. One that just took a loss to the Texans. And I think we play the Bengals first, I'm pretty sure. So we're coming up on that Bengals game, and that's going to be big. Yeah, Levi Wallace did. Yeah, Jamie. Yeah, for sure. Levi Wallace didn't play that bad today, and he usually has been. I thought he's been poor across the board throughout the season. But I think Levi Wallace, you didn't hear his name a ton today, and that's big for a cornerback. How about Joey Porter Jr.? He had that one pass interference, but all in all, I thought he played pretty decent. He wasn't getting smoked all the time. And that big one at the end of the game there on that last drive, that was more of like a safety responsibility. That wasn't a corner responsibility. That was a big drag the whole way across the field, deep, huge, long drag. And I think that was more of the safeties not recognizing, not getting on that guy. I'm not sure who caught it, but I can't remember all their names. Too many people. Yeah, excuse me. Sorry, we were yelling, man, at the TV today. It was crazy. In a game, though, that you really think that the Steelers are going to come out and dominate, and it looked like it early. They shot out to that 17 points. They were really going. And Mike Tomlin, I don't think, was playing very good situationally today, in my eyes. Some of those things. Just some of the calls. We'll go into those more in depth throughout the week as we do some shows. I'm going to break those down. I'm going to watch the game again. But again, guys, I'm not going to be on here too long, so let me know your comments about this game and where the Steelers sit inside this AFC North. Now it's 6-3. How in the world is this team 6-3 behind a quarterback like Kenny Pickett's playing right now? And I'm not saying Kenny can't be good, but that arm strength does not look like it's there. It really doesn't. I said it in my halftime report. He's not driving a football down the field. And NFL quarterbacks, you have to be able to do that, man. You have to rope those down the field. You have to be able to fit things into tight windows. You can't finesse your way all the time as a quarterback. Sometimes you really got to be able to rip it. And I'm not saying you have to have a monster cannon, but you got to be able to rip it. Yeah, Cleveland and Cincinnati, those are the big games as we look forward now, man. Those are going to prove to be monstrous. And when I broke down this schedule, guys, this Green Bay game was a game that you had to win. You had to win this game. These teams that you have to beat, or should beat, rather, they're must wins, man. You got to get these games. And the Steelers did. They got it. And usually they play down to their competition. That's a Mike Tomlin coach thing. I don't know what it is, but it happens a lot. It happens frequently. But the Steelers going in to those Cincinnati and Cleveland games, you got to split the rest of your games at least in the AFC North. And if you do, your chance of being 12-4, 13 and whatever, yeah, 12-5 and 13-4 are pretty damn good if you continue to win the games that you should win. The Colts, you have those guys coming up. Like teams like that, you got to beat those teams. You have to. And the division games are going to prove to be big. You have one against Cleveland, one against Baltimore, and two against the Bengals. You have to split those games. No doubt about it. The AFC North, you have to do that in order to be able to secure a record good enough to get in the playoffs. There's some really good AFC teams. And the Bengals getting beat today by the Texans proves to be huge. I'm telling you, it's going to prove to be big. And if the Steelers can sneak out a big W against the Bengals, and I think they play them next, I'm pretty sure. If I'm wrong, somebody tell me in the chat. But I think they play the Bengals next. If the Steelers get that big W against the Bengals, I like where the Steelers sit, and I like their chances. And if they can get this passing game and this passing attack on track, boy, I think they're going to be tough to beat. And like I said in prior videos, Cleveland next. Oh, wow. Damn, they're coming off the win. They're flying high. It might be a tough one, boys. It might be a tough one. Really. Cleveland, still running them football good. They have a bad taste in their mouth from getting beaten primetime in Pittsburgh. That's going to be a tough game. And the Steelers not being healthy on defense, that's going to be tough. That's going to be real, real tough. Yeah, definitely, yeah, in Cleveland. Yeah, the last one was here at Acrisure Stadium there. Yeah, that's going to be tough. And the Steelers' defense is reeling, boys. Reeling. They are beat up. They're on the field way too much. That run game's starting to pick up for the Steelers. I think it's starting to help keep them off the field a little bit. But, man, you can tell this season has taken its toll, especially as we move past that midpoint now. And you're starting to get into the real meat of the games. You can really see a Steelers defense that's beat up right now. And that inside linebacker room, that's going to be a real problem. And you have to get Minkah Fitzpatrick back, especially if Keanu Neal is injured enough that it's going to be a long-term thing or he's going to be out a couple weeks. You're going to have to get Minkah Fitzpatrick back sooner rather than later because it's going to be big, especially if you're taking Keanu Neal out. I do have one thing I wanted to bring up. If Keanu Neal isn't injured or anything, Keanu Neal's body type and the way he plays football and the way he can come down and play the run, I think if you're the Steelers, you're going to have to schematically use him and bring him up into the box and use him in that inside linebacker type role. I'm not saying he has to be the inside linebacker, but bring him up and use him to help out there because if you're the Steelers, you're in trouble there. And Teryl Austin and Mike Tomlin, you're going to have to schematically fix this up a little bit and start to try to hide some of your deficiencies because this defense is hurting. And I know you got some young players that you've brought in, you've promoted from the practice squad, but man, dude, they're not it. They're not Cole Holcomb. They're not a Quan Alexander. And it's just going to be tough. Really, really tough. Does anybody here in the chat, did anybody know anything about the Keanu Neal injury? Because I think that's going to be actually pretty pivotal for the Steelers. How about Elijah Riley putting that pressure on, blocking that pass? Or was that Chandon Sullivan? It might have been Chandon Sullivan. Him or Elijah Riley, one of the two. Coming off the edge there, batting down that Jordan Love pass. That was big play, man. That was a big play and a big moment. A really big play. Excuse me. But anyway, guys, anybody know about that Keanu Neal? Throw that up there. Anybody else got any comments about the game? Put it up in the chat. Let me know. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. Keep coming back always. Every post game, we're going to keep doing these. We've been on about 24 minutes. We'll probably go to about the 30, 35-minute mark, if that. Like I said, I got some things to do outside before my wife kills me because I don't have things done. And, yeah. And I got to super cold, man. This cold is killing me. I could just feel it. It's like down in your throat and chest. It's been super hard to talk. That's why I took yesterday off. Didn't put out any content yesterday and think I was like, I'm not gonna try to talk. And here I am today, yelling at that damn TV at these stupid ass Steelers. It's just crazy. I don't understand how you play down to that. When you jump out and it's what 17-7 at that time or something like that, I think. But they were getting out to a commanding lead, and you got to be able to put your foot on someone's throat and continue and stomp them, man. That's football. You got to be able to do that. Every week can't be that comeback. Every week can't be won in the fourth quarter. I mean, it can be, but man, you got to eventually be able to really put your foot on someone's throat and stomp it out, man, and just really drive something home and go down and score when you're supposed to. Score whenever you need that score. And if you're Kenny Pickett, you got to be able to move that offense in times of at the end of the game. You have to be able to do that. And I'm not understanding where he's not able to drive this football. It's still puzzling me, and I keep thinking about it throughout this whole live stream. Why in the world is he not able to drive the football? Is that rib injury that bad? I'm not sure. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Sorry if I yelled into the mic, guys. Yeah, I agree. Yes, that's cool. That was his saying. I didn't know that. But you do. You really do. You have to be able to put your foot on someone's throat and stomp them out, man. And I thought, though, hey, that defense at times, too, they played the run today pretty damn good because those two runners, what's Dylan and, whatever, the other one. But anyway, I can't think of his name right now. But it's on the tip of my tongue. But their two running backs could have really took control of this game. They did have that big run, but for the most part, the Steelers came downhill. And Landon Roberts really stepped up today and played big for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Quan Alexander was playing big for the Steelers before his injury. So, I mean, those guys did step up in the absence of Cole Holcomb. And they really did. They were bringing it. And I'm not saying they weren't without mistakes, because they definitely weren't. But they were bringing it. And they were coming downhill. And they were really supporting those guys up front. And, guys, let's talk about Keanu Benton. I think he is a monster, and he needs more snaps too. Cam Hayward's in there, I know, but put Cam and Keanu in there a lot more, and let Cam not be in there a million plays. And I felt like they did that today. They managed it. I didn't really notice Larry Ogunjobi much, which probably isn't a good thing, but I didn't really notice him much. I did notice Keanu Benton with some big plays. Cam Hayward, I didn't notice him, but he's Cam. You're gonna see him, but yeah. The offense is the story and the tell, and it keeps coming back to that offense. And they're just not a cohesive unit. They're not able to move the football on a consistent basis, especially against a team like the Green Bay Packers, that their defense was missing some stars. Quay Walker, Jair Alexander, all those guys, they were missing their big hitters, and you still weren't able to just really totally dominate. You did at times, and that was through the run game. The pass game was non-existent. I thought Deontay dropped a couple that would have been okay. But you still weren't finding George Pickens. You still, if you're Kenny Pickett, not able to read downfield. And you did have time today. And it wasn't constantly pressure like it usually is. And if you have time, you got to be able to make some decisions, and you got to be able to move the football and drive it down the field. It's real simple, and that's what it's missing. That's what this offense is missing. It's missing a quarterback that's able to move the football and drive it down the football field, period, point blank. There's nothing else that it's missing right now. You figured out the offensive line, and there's not much more they can do. Yeah, Jamie. Yeah, man. You got to do something. They're going to have to do something. He said something about Tanner Muse from the Chargers practice squad. Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, you're going to have to find something. There's some veteran guys out there, and that's where I think you're going to have to turn. Young guys are cool, but I think you got to get a veteran guy in the building, probably. Especially, like I said, if Quan Alexander is going to be a long term thing, you got to get a couple veteran guys in the building, figure out what you need to do. There's got to be somebody somewhere that you can find that's a veteran presence that can guide and has the smarts to be able to move this inside linebacker room in the right direction, rely on a Landon Roberts, who I thought was hurt on that one play when he come across and he ran smack into the receiver and the defender at one time. He looked really stunned. I was waiting for him to show up on the questionable to return list for concussion or something. Quan Alexander, it was, I think, a leg injury, a lower body injury. I can't remember exactly, but I know it was lower body. He did walk off on his own power, so I'm not sure, Jamie, exactly what it was. Like I said, I was like into it, screaming at the TV. My son and I, we were up there watching, being nuts. So, yeah, it was just him and I today, and we were going crazy in there, screaming and yelling. Then I remembered that I had my back door just a screen open. My neighbors were probably like, there's the asshole again out there screaming, being nuts, yelling at the TV. But hey, it's crazy. Excuse me, guys. I don't mean to like cough and be nasty in the mic. It's this cold is killing me. But anyway, yeah, Quan Alexander injury, big. Definitely miss Cole Holcomb. Definitely going to miss Keanu Neal if he's not in. And Kenny Pickett's still not able to move the football at a reliable rate and drive the football downfield. Those are my big takeaways. We're going to do some shows, break down this game a little bit, because I feel like we did get some good tape on the offense, and we did get some good things that we can see and really try to highlight some of the bad things and what they need to fix and really go over that. Again, the Steelers win. Another close game. Big interception at the end of the game by KZ. How about that late hit by, what's his name? The tackle that was holding TJ Watt the whole game, which was crazy. Yeah, in my eyes, I don't usually complain about calls because I feel like they always, they used to equal themselves out. But man, lately it just feels like some of these crews really control the game and really blatantly. Yeah, TJ Watt's a superstar and he can wreck games, but you don't just give tackles free passes to do kind of whatever they want to him just because he's super good. You still got to call it square. I mean, that's just the way it goes in my eyes. I may be wrong. I'm going to watch it again. And when you watch it the first time, like I said, you're screaming crazy, having those raw emotions with it. So whenever I watch it again, I'll get a better perspective of it. So, all right, guys. Yeah. I do. I think so, Jamie, for sure. I really do. They definitely are controlling some games across the league. And if you really watch them and watch the outcomes of these games, you can really see the official impact. It's definitely really felt, and especially late in these ball games. You guys got to let these people play. That Calvin Austin offensive pass interference call, I get it technically. Yes, that is a foul. Thanks, man. You too. Have a good one. But that is a foul. I get it, but I feel like it was just a little bit ticky-tacky late in the game when it wasn't a deliberate thing. It wasn't something that was like him really trying to block or create that interference, man. It wasn't. It just wasn't. It was kind of like guys running across the field and they accidentally ran into each other barely. It wasn't even crazy. But anyway, all right, guys, let's wrap it up. Until next time, we'll do some shows throughout the week, as always, and we'll go live at the end of the week for the Steelers postgame. And maybe we'll try to do another live throughout the week one time in the evening here and talk Steelers after we digest this game versus the Green Bay Packers. All right, guys, your Steelers are 6-3. I don't know how. But until next time, later, guys.